Alrighty, we are live. I'm hoping that whoever's watching the replay hangs out for at least a little bit. And I appreciate you coming in and stopping in and saying hey. It's been a great day so far. There's a lot to talk about. And then we can always converse as we go along. So that's my plan. So whoever comes in, make sure to say hey and hello, and we'll have a great stream together. Also, anyone who comes in, just do a audio and visual check. That would appreciate it. Jim, if you're still in here, Jim's Fish, let me know if you can hear me and see me all right. There's a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So I hope that we get a good group of people in here. I know there's quite a few streams going on currently, like KG Tropicals is probably finishing up. I know that, I can't think of the other guy's name. He's with like Skull Aquatics. He does his live stream. I think he started his at 8. But we'll kind of wait and get everybody rolling in because we have a lot to talk about. We have this is my Mbuna tank, and we have a lot of situations going on and everything that I've changed with this tank. So I'll probably end up repeating myself a little bit, but that's all right. It is all good. So I'll do like a long story short here. Alrighty. Hello, Mom and Dad. Thanks for coming in. Can you both hear me and see me all right? Everything's good? Just comment in the chat. I'm glad you figured it out. Yeah, just let me know if you guys can hear me all right. I believe I tested everything and everything should be good. Jim's Fish says that he's ready. And for anyone else who's watching the replay, like later on this evening or tomorrow or whatever time, my mom and dad are here watching as we speak. And thanks, Jim's Fish. Seems like everything's working out well so far. So that's always a plus. On a side note, my mom and my grandma came in today. Dad, you missed out a little bit, but hopefully Mom showed you some videos. My dad says hearing aid is in. All right, that's always good. But yeah, my mom and grandma stopped by, which is my mom's mom. They stopped by because they haven't seen the fish room in quite a while, and I think actually my grandma actually hasn't seen it in quite a while. So I was very, very pleasant experience with them coming in and seeing the fish room, and I'm really glad that even my grandma was able to come down here and check everything out, and even upstairs and all the showroom tanks and my fry operation and growing fish out. It's been a lot of fun. So appreciate Mom and Grandma coming down, and hopefully Dad will see you. We'll see you here soon, maybe, so you can check everything out and show you in person. It's improved quite a bit, but so far so good on this tank right now. Hello, this is Mary, I believe, from my last live stream, if I got that correctly. And I'll just call you Shrimple. I think that's what we talked about before. 2 a.m. Yeah, that's That's a rough one. I don't think I'm ever awake at 2 a.m. unless I'm on a night shift. But yes, Mary. So I remembered. I'm glad that you can set your alarm, to wake up and watch my live stream. I hope you didn't do that. But regardless, um, yeah, watch the replay and enjoy, because I have a lot to talk about with my Mbuna tank and all I've done with it. So I'll kind of, for your sake, since it's 2 a.m., I'll kind of give a rundown of what I've done. And I'll let you know. They're called Behave A, or however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, have a good one. Bye, Mary. Thanks for stopping by. Watch the replay. I'll try to get a little bit of the beginning stuff in, so you can kind of watch and go from there. But thank you. You too. It's kind of like Austin Powers. I got to tell these Mbunas, oh, behave. You guys remember that movie? But yeah, a little rundown for the people that are in here now. This tank has been completely redone. There was only a few rocks in here. It started out with a bunch. Had a lot of aggression issues, and then, as a long story short, I was moving whenever this whole wall got put in down here. I was moving the Mbunas from one tank to another to try to get everything in this tank set up. And during that movement, a lot of the Mbunas got really shy and scared, and then they were pretty much scared out of their wits to even have anyone go in front of the tank. So it was going from that tank over to that tank over to there, and then I put them in this tank temporarily to set this one up. And then I realized how skittish they were between the tank movements, and I eventually ended up putting a few of them in here, but I ended up putting everything permanently in here. I rescaped this entire tank, and I put, they're like egg crates. I'll show you guys here. I'll go get one real quick. But if you guys ever put real live rock in the fish tanks, I use this here, and I just put it all along the bottom of this underneath the sand, because just like Mbunas love to do, they love to dig through the sand, and you can already see it. They're already doing it already. But they love to rescape everything. So that was a precaution I took, because there was a lot of time to where I would come down here the next day and the rocks would be leaning up against the glass. And these are all real rock in here. They're all really heavy. And once these Mbunas start digging, I don't want these, real live rock that's real heavy crash and then hit on the bottom of the tank. And next thing you know, I come downstairs to just water everywhere. So I always advise that if you ever do real live rock, to put these down the bottom. So that way, whenever they start to dig, these rocks will always be on a solid, even weight distribution throughout the entire bottom of the tank. So I did that on the bottom. I rescaped all these different rocks. And then what I did was, during the time, I did lose one fish. That was a yellow lab, because Mbuna, for anyone who doesn't know, they need a lot of rockscape and a lot of water movement, and their diet's veggie diet, on a side note. So there's only very few hiding spots and few rocks on this side of my tank. So temporarily they were in here while I was setting this one up. And I bought fish online from Imperial Tropicals. And I also had a yellow lab that was holding, and I got their fry release and put into a tank recently. And then I put her in a quarantine tank so she could kind of gain her strength back. And there was another one at the time that actually got beat up in the process of being in here. I took him in with that same tank to get them healed up, medicated them and got them back, and all their fins were looking fine. They weren't as bad. And then after that, I got the fish online from Imperial Tropicals, and everything was a success. I did really well with it, and the fish all came happy and healthy and real active. And throughout the 30-day quarantine period, they did really well. And then my whole mindset, because I was really close to actually giving away a lot of these Mbunas to the local fish stores or wherever I could find, just because they were so skittish. And when I put these fish after their 30-day quarantine from Imperial Tropicals, they were lively. They were right up front. There's 5 that I got from Imperial Tropicals. There's these bumblebee cichlids. There is a Tropheus. There's a couple of female, male Tropheus. And then there is, I can't remember the other one. It's a new one that I got. But hello, Mr. Fishpert, or I should say Rob. Thanks for coming in from the UK. Appreciate it. But yeah, they were out and running around, and they're real personable, and so it's great, that they were eating okay, even in new tank. And I wanted them to get comfortable in here before I slowly started adding the fish into here. So there's a term called ditherfish I tried to use with other fish, and that didn't work out either for these guys. So this was my last attempt before I brought the original OG Mbuna into this tank. This is kind of like my last desperate attempt to try to make things work out, because this is my presentable YouTube channel. This is where I'm going to be doing all my YouTube live streams. So I want to make sure that everything's good. Rob says I keep African shell dwellers amongst other species. I've never had shell dwellers, but I hear they're pretty fun to have. I've seen videos about it, and they seem pretty cool. But so I added the fish from Imperial Tropicals. They got used to it, and then as I added all the yellow labs in here, and so ditherfish is what they do is they kind of act as like if they're real outgoing, it kind of gets the other fish that are more like skittish and more like they'll hide and stuff. It'll get them to they'll weave in and out of the rocks, and they'll kind of get them to get them to be a little bit more social. So that way they're not hiding all the time, because the whole entire tank before I got my Imperial Tropicals tank, they were all hiding. Characters, such a character to have for sure. Yep. But and using ditherfish. Yeah, this is, and the crazy thing is I use, African cichlids. I used Mbunas for ditherfish, and I used the Imperial Tropicals as the ditherfish, and I just got them used to the atmosphere first for, 2.5 weeks or so. So they got used to it. So they were actually, whenever I put the yellow labs in, I put them in yesterday. And then there were 4 others. There's 2 electric blue Johannes, 1 Kenii, and 1 Aratus, because you need to keep those almost like you only can add like 1 of those, because they're better kept in a community of either all Kenii or all Aratus, long story short. Hey, you figured it out. So you got mom and dad on separate names here. That's sweet. Surround sound. So anyways, as I added the yellow lab, I came down here this morning, and not a single fish was dead. Not a single fish was beat up. There was a little bit of chasing, but it was always brief, because what you need with Mbunas is I have the wave maker on this side, water movement. There's a filter coming down here. I added an FX2 a few weeks ago, and then I added all the rockscape. So there's plenty of activity. There's also the aeration system I have throughout my whole entire fish room. There's, obviously there's bubbles in here. So there's a lot of activity along with plenty of hiding spots. So it seems like and then after I came back this morning, there was only 4 fish left in this tank, which was the 2 electric blue Johannes, the Kenii, and Aratus. So after I realized about halfway through the day, got some yard work done and stuff, and I came back down here again, I was like, all right, everything's still good. There might be an occasional chase, but because there's so many fish in here and so many hiding spots and activity with the water movement, it breaks that line of sight, so the chase doesn't last any longer than a second or two before something gets interrupted and they're not constantly chasing with that one fish throughout this entire time. So I thought, this is looking really good. So right before this live stream, I added those 4 fish into here, and it was taking them to get used to, because the routers are known to have a bad rep, but this one's been pretty good. But that's this guy here, and this is electric blue Johanny. I wish I could remember the new name of the one fish, but it just seems like there's actually more fish in here than you can see. But there's probably about 8 yellow lab in here. I want to say. I want to say there's at least 20 fish in here. I have to go on my app and count all the fish. But it's crazy. This has all been a very interesting thing, Rob. Hello, Dan and Can Aquatics. Appreciate you coming in. He says, "What's up?" For anyone who's just coming in, my mom and dad's here watching. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the Imperial Tropicals I use as a dither fish, and now I have all this activity in this tank, and this is exactly what I've been looking for. And I've been dealing with this for months, trying to figure out different ways on how to get these fish to be more social, be more active, be more outgoing, and try to figure this all out. And this is all a learning process for me. Yo mama. These are both 55 gallons behind me. But that's one tactic that I had never, that was the last tactic that I decided to do with these Mbunas. Is sometimes in the fish hobby, some things work for people, and then sometimes other things don't, to like mitigate aggression. So this was my last idea between the skittish fish, or the ones that weren't real social, and to help with aggression issues. This is the very first time to where I overstock a tank to help with that aggression. And, knock on wood that so far it's looking okay. I mean, it's nice because some of these fish, they're hiding, but they don't hide for very long, because then you have these other fish that are running into all the other fish, and they're kind of pushing them out a little ways. So they're kind of claiming their territory in a sense, but at the same time, it gives them more opportunity to be up front. And that's why I'm doing my live streams up front with this, because it'll get them used to more, interactive, with the live stream, me being here a lot. So, so you guys have dual 135 watt tanks. Yeah, I'll tell you what, my brother, he was a lifesaver in this, because I would not have this if it wasn't for my brother. He did a good job and everything. I had the idea and the mindset of what I wanted to do, and I got this from an idea from a restaurant in Florida. And ever since then, I was like, man, I think I can do this. But yeah, that's kind of my story in a nutshell of how this works. And like I said, knock on wood, like so far, like everyone's kind of maintaining, and like I really hope this works out. So for anyone who's watching the replay, I hope you guys make it all the way through this whole entire, at least the first 20 minutes, because it was kind of like a rundown of everything that I did, between moving tanks from upstairs to downstairs, putting this wall together. I mean, Dan and Ken Aquatics, you said you have 135 wall tanks, 135 gallon, I'm assuming. Those are pretty big. My biggest is 125, and that one's upstairs with Frontosa. But it's cool. I mean, this was kind of the reason, because I've always wanted this for one, and two, I wanted a presentable spot for all my live streams for YouTube. But this is why I also want to do this too, is because I kind of wanted to keep an eye on everybody right now, for a couple hours or so, just to make sure that everything's all right. And, God forbid, I don't want to take one of these fish out if one's getting beaten up. But at the same time, there's just so much activity. There's so many fish. There's so much water movement, that, I'm kind of hoping that everything works out. Rob says I keep Nanochromis, or how do you pronounce that? Perilous African rock. Boy, you're really good with these names, and you never see them ever. You added Congo tetras, and they're all the time swimming with them. The other fish work wonders. Yeah. So giant danios, I've heard, are really good dither fish too. That's the one thing I did not try. But I'm telling you what, like, I think this worked out really well so far. And I hate to like be over positive at the moment because it's only been what, one day, a day and a half, maybe, of this working out so far. And like, this tank is looking beautiful. I mean, it's a smidge cloudy right now because I added a little bit of water conditioner and I added those 4 fish from the other tank right before this live stream. But it'll clear up because there's a lot of filtration in here. There's a lot going on. So, Dan and Ken says we bred the yellow labs for years. One of the nicer temperate Africans. I have a ton of yellow labs, my friend. They're actually, I have one set with just yellow labs only in the Tengan I'm looking at now. That one's dragon blood. And then I have more yellow labs paired with ACI yellowtail, which is this guy here. I'd probably have to zoom in because you guys probably wouldn't be able to see it, but they're basically like blue fish with the yellow tails, and they just pair perfectly. And they're small right now, but when they grow up, I feel like that's going to be a really, really awesome combination between the yellow labs and then the blue fish with the yellow fins. Is a nice contrast between both fish. I think that's going to be cool. Gabriel's glass boxes, Jello. Rob says, "Yep, I'd highly recommend Giant Danios." Yeah, that's in the back of my mind. That was going to be probably my last thing. I've never paired Giant Danios, or I guess you could call them community fish. I did see them, and I was this close to getting them before doing this, but I wanted to see how this worked out first. So if they're all still hiding, I might add like a group of 5. But I mean, these tanks this tank is only a 55 gallon, and with this 20 plus fish in here, I mean, that's a pretty solid amount. And as you can tell, they're all kind of hanging out at their retrospect, their sort of spot that they like, So I'm going to give this a shot, and I think I'm going to go to Giant Danios next if that's the case. Rob says, "What is your number one bucket list fish to have?" Well, I already got one of them, 7 of them, seven, yeah. And they're upstairs in my 125 Aqua Decor background. My mom and grandma came over earlier to check that out. But the Frontosa, that was a bucket list fish for me. And I got them when they were only like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches big. I'd say about 1.5 inches. And I've had them for, let me double check. I have a fish app here. I have had those for 1 year and 2 months. And then I got 6 of them for 1 year and 2 months. And then a blue MOBA Frontosa is actually more like my bucket list fish because those are supposed to turn out really, really freaking cool. And I've had that one for 9 months, almost 10 months. But a bucket list fish, other than the Frontosa, I haven't given it a whole lot of thought. And the reason being is because my operation down here, I mean, I've had a lot of, like right now I have like a lot of peacock and haps, and they're all been growing out really well. And once they get bigger, I can move them up to my tanks up top. But a geophagus is something I've always kind of kept in the back of my mind, but I haven't done enough research yet, and I probably won't get that anytime soon. But when it comes time, I would love to have like a few geophagus, or maybe like the Oscars, because it seems like that's a big thing. I know that seems silly to be a bucket list fish, but you have to have a pretty good sized tank for those. So we'll see what happens. I don't have like much room left in this entire setup basement. I mean, I have over 20 tanks down here. And the only way that I probably would have enough room, and it would suck to say this because I spent a lot of time making these fish tank stands, because I have a 10-gallon rack with 9 tanks, and I have a 20-gallon long with 6 tanks, and I made those stands myself. And that was kind of a huge accomplishment for me. So it would be hard for me to get rid of those 2 racks once the fish get big enough to move to like bigger tanks and get those bucket list fish. So we'll see what happens. Red Laser, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Vibes Aquatics. Hey, you were live earlier. Maybe you're still live now. I don't know, or maybe you're finishing up. But thanks for stopping in. Yeah, the Black Widow. I almost want to get one because I think it'd be really cool to have the blue MOBA and then the Black Widow. Because there's a place that's near Cleveland called Aquatica, and that's where I got some of my fish from. Because I never bought fish online. Imperial Tropicals was the very first experience I did buying fish online. And I always went to Aquatica because they have a huge selection. They're like one of the biggest in the area. But let's see. Rob says, hey, Gord. Yeah, Geophagus altifrons. Yeah. I think that's the one actually I was looking up. If I'm not mistaken, they're beautiful fish. That's always something that I've always wanted. I'm assuming you're talking about Ash. Thanks for coming in, Ash's dad. If my parents are still in here, they are watching too. So my mom and dad figured it all out this time. So this has been fun so far. She's upstairs. I believe she's still putting Alana to bed. And if not, she's upstairs probably tidying up. Yes, Rob, homemade racks, like, I don't know, like they're just so convenient. And like, I was very precise on the measurements and everything that was made. And all of the 10 gallons that I have, I want to say that there's like 3 different brands, just like maybe 1 or 2 Walmart brands. And then the other 2 brands is stuff from like Facebook Marketplace. And you wouldn't believe how many, like a smidge of a difference of a size tank would have whenever you're setting up an aquarium rack. And you almost have to like set like a middle mark of where your tank is going to sit. And then on top of that, you got to make sure your tanks don't slide. So you got to kind of think in your head, well, how do I do that? I use camper weather stripping seal, and they don't budge at all. There's no, like, it's not solid. I didn't put plywood underneath on the bottom of them. It's open on the bottom because I wanted more room. The purpose of that is so I could have more room to put lights to shine down on some of the glass tanks. I mean, my one goal is to actually have all these tanks as a glass hood in a nutshell. But yeah, everyone's coming in saying, hey, yes. My mom says, hey, Kelly. Hopefully you saw that. Orange white eyes. Yeah, Ash's dad says hi to my mom and dad. Looks like they're still watching. DM me on Discord for crochet project commissions. I don't crochet, but maybe someone else in the chat does. He uses yoga matting. My racks are homemade. Sweet. So yeah, like I've heard yoga mats. I use camper weather stripping, like I said, because that was suggested from another YouTuber that I watched videos on. And then another thing is someone they use plywood, but just to make sure the tanks don't move around whenever they're cleaning the glass or doing their maintenance and stuff. Because obviously you lose a lot of weight whenever you're emptying your water and whatnot. But regardless, this one guy bought, I think it was like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of like foam that you get at like Home Depot, and then you just cut it to size. But I just thought that was a little bit too expensive. And when I looked in the camper weather stripping, I mean, you get like a roll this big, and it was only like a few bucks, like maybe $5 or something like that. And I pretty much was able to use that for almost an entire rack. I think I had maybe like 1 or 2 spots left. So I think I ended up using like 2.5 rolls, maybe, I believe, for both the racks, but it worked. So, oh, you do the crocheting. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure like yoga mats, it's the same purpose. As long as something that's solid sits on there and prevents the tank from moving around at all. That's the important part, because we all know that we don't want that worst case scenario. Before we're here in the UK, proper fish mats are very expensive. Yes, I believe that. I mean, the fish hobby in general is expensive. I mean, if you ever hear of MTS or multi-tank syndrome, we all know that's a thing. I mean, if mom and dad, if you're still here listening, we even brought this up whenever mom and grandma came over today, that literally everything started with that 29-gallon tank, and I still have that tank sitting right over there. And I pointed that out to them when they were over here. I'm like, literally everything started before my mom and dad moved to their new location. Before they were moving, I'm like, hey, wasn't that the stand that you had in your office at church a long time ago? He says, man, if you remember, you told this to me whenever we were in the basement. They're like, man, I didn't even know I had this, or maybe you just forgot you had it. And I was like, yeah, because I remember I liked it as a kid, and I always liked watching the fish, whenever you had it in your office a long time ago. So that's what started this all, is me bringing this in and bringing it in the house and starting it up. So, and then I bought a couple 10 gallons and had some guppies. And then, I mean, I've been in the hobby now for, let me look on my app real quick. A couple years now, if I'm looking at this correctly. Let me run through here. No, I take that back. So the 29-gallon that's now on the east wall right there, I'm looking at from the side, 3 years, 6 months, and 13 days. That's how long, which makes sense, because I moved in this house in 2019. And then you guys moved, I think, shortly after, around that same time frame, and that's when I grabbed that stand from you. Yeah, it all depends. I mean, what I was doing, I was trying to save a buck here and there, but at the same time, there were certain things I was like, all right, I have to spend money on this, and I'm going to do it, because I don't want to have it, whenever I started this YouTube channel, as an example, doing all this, but I wanted to have something presentable. And eventually, when I get to the point to where these fish get big enough and I start an LLC for myself, that's still in the future. Then I wanted to have something when people come down here. So if they want to buy the fish, I don't want, some Home Depot shelf, that was just only rated for a very small amount of weight. I wanted to have some racks on here, something that looks like a legit fish store. So I'm progressing. I got an air pump that aerates all the sponge filters in this tank, or in all these tanks. Every single one of these is just, except for there is aeration for the bubble walls on this one, but there's also canister filters. Holy cow! Sorry, guys. I just cannot believe these snails are still showing up in this tank. What do you call them? They're known to be pest snails, but there's still a few in here. And I looked over at this one and I didn't see any of them, but now I do. And there's like 3 of them on the wall. They're like this big. Rob says, my parents got me my first tank in 1994. I've been addicted ever since. I've always loved fish, even when I was a kid. So My dad, that's my dad, by the way. He's helped me on this journey. He got this whole thing started up, and like I said, I've always liked fish when I was younger, but that kind of started everything. But yeah, hats off to you. Rob says certain things. The saying goes, "Buy cheap, buy twice." Some corners can't be cut, or I'd certainly cut them. Yeah, I mean, if on a to save money, especially if you have multiple tanks and you're okay with the eyesore, sponge filters are the way to go because that's a cheap route. But you also have to think with big fish like African cichlids and South American and some of those real big fish, like Frontosa. I got an FX6 on purpose because I know those fish are going to get big, or like big Oscars, you need good filtration. So that's where the expensive stuff come in. But that's why everything's that's where I was buying all the cheaper sponge filters, and I actually got some of the sponge filters from Marketplace too, along with my air pump that I got from Gemco. Kelly says, what was Grandma's favorite fish? She was so overwhelmed by the whole entire operation. I don't think she could even pick a favorite. Because there was just so much, my grandma, she's over 80 years old, so she's just more or less just excited to see everything running, and she was just pretty amazed about how everything was going on, and it was a lot of fun to have her over. So along with my mom, so she didn't say a favorite fish. So maybe Mom, you could ask her next time you talk to her and see which one she likes. Maybe it's the Frontosa upstairs. Maybe she liked those. And yeah, you'll have to ask her that and let me know. Yeah, it's it's crazy. You'll have to come by here again and see. I wish I could do a complete lap of the fish room, but a lot of my my camera work is I can move my camera around, but it's mostly stationary because everything's wired. So I can move my camera around, but I can't get real close to the fish actually, unless I link up another camera. Yeah, this is a pretty neat setup. Like I said, this whole idea was crazy. I made a video on it too. So for all who doesn't know, there's a video on how all this came to be and how everything was set up. Even with my fish room, there was like a 20-minute video or so, and where this all started too. I mean, I can always leave that in the description whenever I'm done on the live stream. But it's crazy how this has progressed. Are you being punny, Rob? But yeah, FX6. I only got, because it's crazy, is I have an FX2. It's right up here. I have an FX4, which is in my Peacock and Half tank in the kitchen, and then I have an FX6 in my Frontosa tank. And they're all pricey, but I've all gotten them at really good discounts. And you almost have to find the right time and get the right, added discounts on top of the sales that they're already having. So I haven't paid full price for hardly any of this stuff, because you just have to. Whenever you start buying these tanks, I was getting setting these things up. They always give you oh, here's your what do they call it? Discounts on your next purchase. So they would have 50% off if you buy these, all open glass tanks. So I would buy a bunch of those for my fish room, and then I get all these discounts that I could use towards my next purchase. So that's when I bought these FX filters on top of their discounts that they were already giving me during their holiday sales or whatever. But yeah. Joe always gives credit to his brother for the huge help with this app. Yes, I do. I really wish my brother would join one of these live streams once. I think he's seen maybe a few videos, but my brother is a very busy person. And I wish he would stop by for a little bit, because I bring my brother up a lot, because he has helped me so much with this room. He's helped me with electric. He's helped me with this wall setup. He's helped me move my fish tanks. And that's why, one of these days, Mom and Dad, you got to, if you're still listening, we kind of, talk to him, and we got to see if he can join on one of these live streams and have you guys on there too. like I bring my brother up like a lot because, and the reason being is I thank him. I can't thank him enough for all that he's done for me to get this, because I couldn't have done it without him. So the Wi-Fi fish. There's a backstory behind that, guys. Yeah, thanks, Rob. Yeah, I am proud of myself and everything else as well. But yeah, there's the FX filters. I mean, I have one Fluval, is it a 306, I think? And it's on this side here. It's what I got running over there. And that one's not bad, but I mean, these FX filters, they're just so easy. I mean, it's just set them up and you hardly have to do anything with them. And they're really easy to maintain. Yes. Yeah, Rob, if you have time, look it up, and I'll leave a link in the description of the wall video. I don't believe it's too terribly long. I don't think it's 20 minutes, because I tried to sum it up as best I could. But I get compliments about this wall setup a lot, and everyone has really loved how it's progressed and how it's looked. And every time that someone joins new on my live stream, they're like, "Man, that's a really cool setup," and it's pretty cool. But yeah, thanks, Rob. So you're the one building for him. Are you maintenance savvy? Because I'm not too terribly, I can do your small maintenance stuff here and there, but when it comes to anything, I mean, my brother's been working with my dad through construction, as a backstory, and then he's had his own business now, and now he's been doing this since I think maybe like 16 or 18 years old, and I'm 38. Yeah. And he's a few years older than me. So 2.5 years, almost 3 years older than me. And you have to think he's been doing this for like over 20 years now. So he's like the jack of all trades. So yeah, we all get to enjoy this, and I'm going to continue doing this live stream whenever I can, and keep doing the YouTube stuff. And I will, one of these days, hopefully that he'll come in. He says, good one. There's a backstory with my grandma about Wi-Fi, or, she calls it Wi-Fi at the time, but it's Wi-Fi, obviously. Yeah, those are the type of videos I really like seeing, watching videos, Rob, of how someone progresses within the fish hobby, or in anything really. Like whenever they start from something simple, and then they actually see a progression of how everything works. I mean, if anybody knows anything about moving fish tanks and setting things up as far as the fish keeping hobby goes, it's a lot of work. I mean, you wouldn't think just moving a few tanks here and there. I mean, we were also, whenever I was doing all this, we were also raising a daughter, which she's almost 2 right now, but we're trying to take care of her while moving all the fish tanks around. So, I mean, there was a lot going on, and I was really fortunate to be able to feed it in all the time that I had to do the fish stuff, and at the same time, take care of a family. So it's been, I've been very fortunate to have this all work out for me. And hats off to my wife that I'm very fortunate that she allows me to do all this. So she takes care of everything too. She whenever I work a busy schedule, she's been feeding the fish, and whenever I have a fish or two, like when you have as many fish as I do, especially when they're all small and you got to feed them pretty often, otherwise they start killing each other. You might have like 1, maybe 2 fish might die off here and there. It's not like dramatic by any means, but it's just like with this situation, I had 1 fish die here and there between all the fish movement with aggression issues and stuff. But she was able to get the fish out, and she has my daughter and this carrier and stuff. So she's been, I do all the maintenance stuff, but she's been feeding the fish when I'm gone and taking care of everything, make sure everything's okay. I mean, she's actually was moving fish around for me whenever something got sick or something happened. So she's done her diligence to help me out with this whole entire thing. So, Rob, we have 26 tanks. On occasions, I have to build up the strength to even move tanks around. It's a lot of work. You would think that, I mean, you got to think like 10-gallon tanks weigh like I don't know, but depending on what substrate you have in it, whether it's rock, sand, or no substrate or whatever, but I mean, you're going to be carrying like 50 pounds or so. I mean, it's, I would have to look up the cheat sheet on it. I wonder if I still have that on here. I wonder if I do. Let me see here. Screenshots. I used to have a thing on here. Oh, yeah. So if we're going just by small tank size, I mean, even a 10-gallon tank, and when you're going to be, no, I was wrong. You're looking at like 100 pounds, depending on what you use for your substrate, just for a 10-gallon tank. And a 20-gallon long is 225. So, I mean, if you got to move this stuff, I mean, with an empty weight, I mean, with a 20-gallon long, you're looking at 25 pounds. Not to mention just it being awkwardly, it's just awkward to hold, in other words, to lift on the different racks and stuff. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it is a full-time job. This is like my second full-time job. Yes. So when you say works smart, not hard, that is why this whole entire room is made through my Gemco air compressor with PVC pipe around the entire perimeter of this fish room with sponge filters. So that way it makes it so much easier. This is not a temperature controlled room. I tried to set that up with a fireplace, and the fireplace still works, but it's just an electric fireplace, and it's just, in the wintertime, it doesn't do enough justice, and electric fireplaces aren't supposed to be run this much, but I still use it though, especially when it gets colder down here. But I think eventually in the future, once I get down to it, I might put, my brother suggested to do some type of, there's a big unit that you can actually like put into like an in-wall unit, and it'll like heat the whole room up. So that way I don't have to have heaters in every single tank. So that would save on energy costs, but at the same time, I would have that unit in there. So I don't know if that's even possible to do yet. I haven't even looked into that yet. So, Rob says I'm like trying to fit a good size grown man. Yeah. Yeah. Is it a Brute trash can? Because that's what I use. A lot of my hose will go into the bathroom shower that's in there in the small bathroom, but some of the tanks with the hose it doesn't reach. I actually what's easier is I actually throw the water all in like this Brute trash can, and then I have a Seche Ultra Zero pump, and it goes right from into that Brute trash can and into the shower. Now, could I buy another hose? Yeah, I probably could, but like I've developed this system to where it just works, and I just haven't cared enough to buy another hose. It seems silly, but it's one of those things that when you create a system, it just works. Yeah. Yeah. PVC, like I said, I should probably buy a spare pump. I really don't want to, since this is like I did not buy this from Gemco, but it is a pump from Gemco. And that's where I bought some spare valves from Gemco, and I learned I threaded all the valves in here. I mean, it's fantastic. It was a lot of learning, for me, but it worked really good. But yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the Brute trash can. Yep. Yeah, I think mine is. It doesn't say on there, but it's a pretty good sized Brute trash can. But yeah, that's kind of what I have. So did anybody not hear my backstory? Looks like there's 7 people watching right now. I know it seems like sometimes the longer I stay, it seems like more people kind of fall in. And some people, they're in another country too, so I'm hoping they'll watch the replay. And that's where I tried to get the explanation of what happened with these 2 tanks and the Mbunas and stuff. But I mean, just by looking at them, I mean, they seem to be like getting along. I hope you guys can still hear me being faced this way. It seems to be okay, but Yeah, so there's the Kenii. That one is the golden Neurotis, which is actually a male. That's why it's black. But I really don't see like any aggression issues so far, and I don't see like anything real harsh. And if anything, like I said before, that it's very temporary because there's just so much activity. 200 liters. Still find it hard converting to gallons. Well, let's do that. Hey Google. Oop, let's find this out. How many gallons is 200 liters? 52 gallons. 52.8 to be exact, says Google. But yeah, I think mine might be a 40, maybe it's like a 48 or something like that. It may not be 52, but it's a pretty decent size. So Rob's in the UK. Rob, what time is it over there? But yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot going on that's real major. And it's really satisfying to see that the fish kind of getting along with everybody, and they're kind of like upfront and they're well tempered, and it just seems like so far, like I said, knock on wood, I hope it works out. And there probably is still some fish that are hiding right now too, because like I said, there's probably a good 20 plus fish in there. I have to go on my app and actually count and see it, because I know there's 7 or 8 yellow lab in here, I believe, because I did have 6 and one died during this transition between these tanks. So I think there was 5 I moved over, 6, 7. So yeah, I think there might actually be 7. No, there is 8, because I had one that I had with the Imperial Tropical. I did not buy it from Imperial Tropicals, but I had put it in there to heal up before I got the fish in to put in their quarantine tank. So she was in there. She healed up after she had the babies, and then I added those with her, and they got along well. So there were 6 of them. So then there was 2 that I was healing up in another healing quarantine tank. So I added these 5, added the 2, and then I added the 1. So there's 5, 6, 7. There's 8 yellow labs, 2 ACI yellowtail. So that's 10. And then I bought 5 from Imperial Tropical, so that's 15. And then the 4, which is the 2 electric blue Jahani, the Kenii, and the Erotis. So there's 19 fish in here, if I counted that correctly. But yeah, I'm gonna look that one Mbuna, the name of it. I thought I put it in this app. Let me check real quick. I want to tell you guys the name of this Mbuna, because I've never seen this Mbuna in any store before, and that's why I bought him, for this exact reason. Let me see here. Oh yeah, so here we go. I bought 2 bumblebees, 2 red-cheeked Tropheus, 1 male and 1 female, because you can buy them in like in a breeding group. The one I'll show you here when I zoom in on the camera here, it's called a Swedish hongi. But it's pretty cool. That's I've never seen a Swedish hongi in any fish store, and so when I saw that, I was just like, whoa, that's a cool name regardless, and it was colorful. So, I can't complain there. I've had to do that too, Rob, with my swing shift schedule. Sometimes whenever I try to acclimate, like for example, like tomorrow, I start my night shift schedule. So that's why I'm doing my late stream now, to try to, get acclimated to the night shift schedule. So I get it. People saying coming in. Everyone's coming in saying, hey, appreciate everyone coming in and saying hello. It's been a good stream so far. Hey, Craigs, thanks for coming in. He snuck in here, must have been recently. Yeah, the rock work, like I said, this is all real rocks. And for all who wasn't here in the beginning, I used these egg crates on the bottom of the tank throughout the entire bottom, because we all know how African cichlids, they love to dig. So that's why whatever these rocks, I don't want them to smash on the bottom of the glass, because they're just obviously really heavy. So that's a way to evenly distribute the weight between the entire tank. And that way, if I have a rock that when they start digging, nothing's going to fall and be too detrimental, in the future. Red cheeks are like hen's teeth. I thought that I got that because it seemed like they were pretty rare too. But like, I've never heard of red cheek tropheus either, so that was the reason why I wanted to get bumblebees. I know you can get those; they're pretty popular, but I've never had them before, so that's why I got them in a pair. And then the red cheek tropheus. It's kind of neat to buy specific fish that you don't see anywhere else, and that's why I wanted to do this. And I was hesitant doing this whole entire project because I didn't want my red cheek tropheus or my Swedish honky dying in this process, because those are kind of my, I guess you could say, a bucket list fish, but I really can't call it a bucket list fish because it was a fish I didn't know about until I looked up on Imperial Tropicals. So you've only seen them one time, huh? Hey, what's up, Salient? Thanks for coming in, hanging out for a little bit. Yeah, for anyone else, make sure you guys like the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it, and then tell all your friends. Thanks for stopping by, Jesse. I hope I'm not keeping you up too late before you have to get up for work tomorrow. So that's why I wasn't going to set this one up originally through the aeration system, but because of the Mbuna need a lot of the movement, a lot of distraction, a lot of, overstock, that's why I went this route, to have every little bit of thing I could think of to try to mitigate the aggression and to try to get the fish to come out more. And so far, I think it's looking really good. And I've had a lot of help, Salient including. He's given me some good suggestions, and I've looked some stuff online, and some other people suggested ditherfish. So everyone has played a good part. And this is the whole reason why I joined this YouTube, is we all can learn and progress together and give us all good tips to help us succeed in the hobby. And this is a prime example right here of why I continue to do this, because people will want to help out and get us all to do better. And that's the whole point, and to have fun, of course. So, P-tag. I love it. Rob says you'd love the store I use in the UK. They have a totally dedicated Mbuna African Malawi section full of rare ones. That's great. Like I said, there's a place near Cleveland called Aquatica that's about an hour away from me, a little over an hour. And they have a really huge showroom. They have some African cichlids that are really rare too, but they're so expensive. And buying rarity fish is expensive regardless, because you got to pay that $50-$60 for shipping, because it's usually next day air, overnight. So I get it. You're shipping live fish, but I just feel like they're expensive. So you're running late. So you want me to do a rundown, Salient? Oh, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. I'll try to hit you back. That's the whole point. We're all trying to learn in this together, and it's the best part, really. We live in a world that, granted, you're gonna have your bad eggs in YouTube, but overall, with me being in YouTube, has been the best thing for me to learn in this hobby. Fishbert. How cold is it, Craig? So Jesse, if you have a few minutes, I'll kind of do a rundown. My first 20 minutes was my discussion about what I did. I did have one yellow lab die in this whole process. It died a couple of days ago, but the reason being is because this was where my yellow labs were at, and then a Kenii Iratus and two electric blue Jahanis. But there was just no place to hide because it's a 55-gallon tank and there's three giant rocks and that's it. It's an aqua decor tank. It's a slim background, so there's room, but there's only three rocks, so there's not much to claim. And this was only meant to be temporary, and they were in there for about maybe 2 weeks or so. So unfortunately, aggression got the best of one of them, and one died. Long story short, but yeah. Well, I'm trying to catch everybody up here. Ooh, 23 Celsius here in the UK. I don't want to get too far behind since Jesse's probably got to go to bed here in a little bit because I'm assuming work tomorrow. But basically, what I did is I rescaped this entire thing. Added. I bought more rock. I bought more Texas Holy Rock that Salient suggested for me. That way, if they have babies, if they have someplace to hide. But I put these egg crates on the bottom, all over the bottom of the fish tank to evenly distribute the weight. Rescape this entire tank. Oh, you wanted me to tell you about the FX2 and how it's working for me, and it's working out great. I'm probably going to make a little bit of an adjustment because you can kind of see it here that you can still. I want to move it up just a little bit more, so that way I can adjust the flow a little bit. I have some tinkering to do, but it worked out great. I decided to keep it, and instead of buying the 406 Fluval. All right, cool. You're still here. All right. But it's working out great. So I added the wave maker. I kept one of my two hang in the backs in here for now, so that way that FX2 could get acclimated to, and I'm going to keep both of them running on purpose. And I was thinking of just having just the FX2 there alone. But then after I thought about it, I was like, if one filter goes bad or something, it's always nice to have it back up, and plus having that extra water movement. So we got the wave maker on this side pushing this way. We got the hang on the back going down this way. We have air coming up on both walls. And then we have the FX2 on this side. And then, so you have all this water movement. And then I did a full rock scape, so there's plenty of places to hide. And the Imperial Tropicals fish I put in here first and let them get acclimated, so that way, because they were real personable, they were real outgoing, and they were always up at the front. So with the other Mbuna that were in here, they were always scared. They were always running away when you come to the tank. So I got those guys acclimated, and then once I did, I started slowly adding the other fish in, and the Imperial Tropicals fish kind of acted as like a dither fish per se, and they were able to kind of get everyone out to be a little bit more personal, and more outgoing. It's, this is only like my day and a half in on this, so knock on wood, I'm hoping this works out. But that's kind of my rundown in a nutshell. And I haven't had any aggression issues. And even if there is, it only lasts like a second or two, because then that break of line of sight between all the fish and all the different distractions, it's working out. So that's kind of my rundown in a nutshell. Hello, Elfish. Appreciate you coming in. Wonder if Elfish, if that's David, if that's what you're talking about, Red. But yeah. So, I mean, this whole YouTube thing has just been a lifesaver. I mean, it's so far, all my Mbuna are behaving. Let me, my camera, I'm going to zoom in, but you are going to see like a little block until it'll disappear eventually. But let me zoom in and kind of give you guys a little closer look. if you guys follow Ben Ochart, you'll know what this is. Oh, I'll get out of your way here. But as you can see, each fish is kind of starting to claim their spot, but like no one's bothering anybody. And when I started adding these fish in, you might have like that occasional chase as I was adding more in because it got a little kind of rambunctious. But Salient, you remember me talking about it before about how they were always so scared and so they weren't all up front and that's the whole purpose of me having these in-wall tanks. Like see right there, you have that occasional chase, but it only lasts like a second or two because you have so much else going on. And I was kind of worried about the Erotis here that you're seeing going across the screen that's towards the left, that's now in the center. I was worried about him because they're known to be aggressive and he's doing fine too. Along with the electric Jahani right here. Here's the Erotis. ACI yellowtail. Like there's no like fin damage at all. I'm hoping and knock on wood that I can wake up tomorrow and everything will be fine. Yeah. This is my very first time, Rob, that I've ever done an overstock for a fish tank to break the line of sight on top of everything else. So like everything has played a part in this. All right, Red, be careful driving. But yeah, everything is looking great. Yeah, I remember saying that you in all your Mbuna tank. I remember you saying that they just multiply. Let me back up here again. Let's see if that's a good spot here. All right. How's that? Oh, I'll close this here so I'll save battery life here. But anyways, that's how everything's been going. Throw some water sprite in and let it float. That would probably. I wish the only thing that I wish I did is on this setup. I'm not regretting this, in-wall setup at all and the reason why I did this is because I already had the fish tanks on hand and I already had everything planned out and worked. If I would have done everything different, I would have done like 275 tanks instead of 255s. But I am by no means complaining about this setup. But I thought about that too, like maybe putting some water sprite, and it would probably more than likely find its way like up here because of the FX2 there and the hang on the back right here. And then of course the wave maker is pushing everything that way. So I would think that the water sprite would probably find its way in that corner up there. So, yeah, see like overfiltration is, especially with African cichlids, especially if they're bigger, it's never a bad idea to like overfiltrate anything with a lot of fish and the size and the tanks and everything. It's never a bad thing, especially if one goes bad, you always have that one that's still working and still circulating. Yep. So take a sponge and seed the tank. Yep. So you probably do that technique to where you keep that sponge like in the filter itself, or do you like, depending on what type of filter you have, with hang on the backs, like for one up there, I actually like keep just sponge filters on hand that are just sitting in the hang on the back. So if I ever have it, God forbid I don't have it, nothing happened, but like if I ever need an emergency situation, that I have seeded media that I just squeeze out into whatever situation I have. That's, because all my tanks are cycled, they're all ready to go and everything's fine. But if I ever come into that emergency situation where I need to cycle a tank immediately, that's what I do is I take those sponge filters and just stick them right into wherever I need them to go. Yep. I'm telling you what, like that is probably my next bucket. I want to call it a bucket list thing, but it's not really like a bucket list thing. Is I want to my one tank up front, my 46-gallon bow front. I want to eventually change it to a all. I don't know if I want to do a dirt. I haven't decided about that yet. I just haven't looked into it yet, but I want to make it a full planted tank with the community tank. So that's kind of my next goal. Okay, so you have sponges behind filters and media available just in case. That's good. That's always good. Yeah, yeah. That's always a nice thing to have. Spares. It's can't complain. So who do we got left here? Looks like we got 7 people watching. Rob says, but here in the UK we now have this stuff called nitro goop. I haven't heard of that. It says actual live. What's MILM? I don't know what that is. It's probably just live bacteria then. So with that being said, I got Turbo Start. It's kind of expensive, but whenever I started my Aqua Decor tank upstairs, I used that Turbo Start, and it wasn't a big bottle. I'd have to look on my orders on Amazon, but that bottle it was expensive, but like it was like a small bottle, maybe about this big or so. I don't know the ounces, but I put that whole thing in, and whenever you're actually supposed to use it for a new tank purpose. I did have some seeded media as well, but at the time I didn't have like a lot of it because I was still doing these. I was still doing the tank operation of updating everything and applying all the sponge filters. So there was a lot going on. So at the time I didn't have a whole lot of seeded media. So when I use that Turbo Start, you can actually add fish that same day. You know, you add the Turbo Start, you add, well, what I take that back. I use the water conditioner and I fill the water up. And then the very next day after, because the sand I put in there, I didn't rinse the sand out. And it actually turned out really good, but I got bags of sand and dumped them in the tank, and then it cleared out the next day. No problem. Like the FX did its thing and everything worked out great, long story short. And then I added the Turbo Start along with the Frontosas the next day, and that tank was sitting right next to the 125 at the time. So all I had to do was take my Frontosa and take them from one tank and put them in another. So it worked out. And those Frontosa, that's their permanent home. They're not moving at all. And all I do to that tank is water changes. I don't move anything. I clean the glass, and that's it. Yeah, Fritz Turbo Start. That's what I used. Mom, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22. I mean, you think of a 125, once you add the sand in the background, you lose a lot of space in real estate. I get it, you know. Okay. So it's probably similar to that Fritz Turbo Start, Rob, I'm assuming. Your other stuff that you get in the UK. I'm assuming it's pretty similar. Do you guys like the further back view of seeing the in-wall setups, or do you want me to like zoom in with the camera and see like more closer up to here? Because every live stream that I've done here so far, I've kind of keep the it's a little bit further away, so that way everyone can see all the decorations and the in-wall setup and everything. But then I like to zoom in and see the fish at the same time. So let me know what you guys think. We're hitting about, I started this at 9, so we're only an hour in. Sometimes people come in later on, so I might hang out for a little bit longer. I wonder if I bet my mom and dad went to bed. For anyone who didn't know, Salient, if you're still in here, my mom and dad came in here, and my wife's dad came in here. He might still be in here too if they haven't gone to bed, but they were in here hanging out for a little bit, which was pretty cool. CChem stability all day here. when needed, but I insta-cycle my tanks with established media and filters. Media and filters is key. Too slowly add stock as a weak cycle tank at that point and not a mature tank. Yep, that all makes sense. I used I think what I used was, you said stability. I think when I already conditioned it, the Turbo Start recommended to use C-Chem Prime is what I believe I used. Oh, so you guys can zoom in. I don't know if you guys could do that or not. Like, I'm not sure if you can actually like take the screen and zoom in or not. I wasn't sure if that was a thing. That's a price tag. That's my mom. That's mom price tag right there. Rob says he uses stability on his Caradona shrimp every water change. Okay. Yeah. So C-Chem Prime, yeah, I used that. I would have to go to the bottle. I would have to double check that for sure because it's upstairs. But I haven't looked at the bottle since since I started that tank up. So let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Miss P Tag. That's Mother P Tag. Rob says my water in foes. What do you mean? Is it flows through flows? You're probably thinking flows. Okay, flows through a dechlorinator, then a 3-stage filter to remove the heavy metals here in the UK. So I don't trust our tap water. All right, so that's that was one thing that I feel like it's in the very far future, distant future, that if I ever were to change anything down here, I would want to do some type of system that I would never have to, I guess, use water conditioner. But at the same time, I've tested this theory with my water because I have well water. I don't have city water, so I don't have to worry about like the chlorine or chloramines or anything of that all that crap you get with city water. Yeah, Mama P Tag. But I've tested this before, and I've done water changes without adding water conditioner, and everything turned out fine. Am I going to do that every time? Probably not. And the reason being is because I don't mind spending money on water conditioner because it's cheap. I buy it in the big jugs, and it's not that big a deal for me to add a little bit of water conditioner when I do water changes. And the fish have been alive. I might have like one die here and there, but it's like nothing too detrimental or anything like that, because I think it's just common whenever you have like one of the 30 or so fish in each tank die, especially if there's a bunch of them. Whenever I start moving fish around, there's bound to have one die here and there, especially if they're smaller. So fish movement is a common thing down here. Okay. Weekly adding. Oh, Pop Tag. Not the can of pop. Pop Tag went to bed. Okay, so that's why he's not here anymore. Big Daddy P Tag. He's probably got a lot to do. Yeah. Prime is always good to have on hand. I have. I'll show you guys here what I use. I still have that Prime on hand. Like I said, it's upstairs. But this is what I use. And the reason why I use this is because it detoxifies the heavy metals. So whenever you have well water, it's, sometimes you can have some metals that's coming from your well water, but it's more or less if you have like copper tubing, which some of the tubing I do have in my pipes. Some of it whenever this house got updated, they updated some of the piping, but not all of it. So I still have some copper tubing. So that's kind of the reason why, I could probably get away with maybe 1 or 2 water changes without using water conditioner, but I don't trust it enough to. And also it has like aloe in this. That's why I like using this, especially if I'm trying to heal a fish. I'll use a lot of this because it has healing aloe with this. for conditioners, but it helps with like the metals and stuff too. So that's why I use this stuff, and I've had no issues with it. It's great success. It's only this big bottle. It's 1 gallon. It says 3.8 liters, if I'm saying that correctly. It looks like. But yeah, it's a whole gallon, and this thing lasts forever, even with all the tanks that I have. But yeah, let me take this off of here. Are you getting tired over there, Rob? Playing the keywords. Hey, Vibes, you were in here earlier, so welcome back. If you guys, if you figure out there's a thumbs up button on the YouTube, there's a thumbs up that you can click. It's like the like button, and then everybody else. Oh yeah, so the Imperial Tropicals video, I was personally disappointed in it. Not as a whole. I actually liked it because it was my first experience, but like, to make a long story short, I recorded the video with my phone, and I didn't realize that it was in the video recording was in a square. Like, some of it was in a square video format, and so like the sides are kind of they were taken out, and the video turned out great on my phone, but I didn't realize till after the fact, because my wife was actually helping me record. So she was helping me record the video as I was moving the fish around with the Imperial Tropicals. So the video turned out great, but it's just when I got to the editing part, I was like, crap, I didn't even realize that. And I obviously couldn't record that all over again. So it is what it is. It's a cool video. It's just kind of like, it's not high quality throughout the entire video. The first half of it's like, it's really neat. I really liked it, but I was just kind of like, crap, I didn't realize that. But my wife did a really good job helping me out with that, because I couldn't have done that video without her. Arsenic and copper. Holy crap. So no wonder you have like a whole system you got going on, Rob. Wow. That's a lot of chemicals. Vibe saying hi. But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so you probably have a good system going on too. I think, like I said, eventually in the far future, I'd like to get some sort of system going on. But I guess, oh, yeah, definitely, she was a good help. Hey, there's Mrs. P Tag. Everyone says hi, as far as Jessie goes. So she made it. Hey, Ash, is Alana asleep? I didn't check the app. Or is she watching with you? Since it seems way more chemicals are being added, guess I'm just old school and don't trust the systems. Okay, she's sleeping, so that's cool. Yes, thank you, Salient, for sharing these videos. I appreciate it. I try to do the same for you whenever you ask, so I appreciate the like and the hit back on that. So that's cool. I thought that's what you were talking about. I almost said COVID too, but yeah, that's crazy that since COVID, there's way more chemicals being added, probably for health and safety reasons, I'm assuming. But yeah, I was gonna say, Rob. See, you're getting noticed. All my family members came in here, except for my brother. I have to get my brother in on one of these live streams. He's the only one that I guess my grandma, but I mean, she came here today, so that's one thing that was really cool. Is my mom and grandma came here to check everything out. My dad's gonna eventually come in here and see everything again, because he was in here earlier. But no, Jesse, Alana's asleep. My daughter, she's asleep. My wife is watching. But yeah, I did a promotional video for Higer. I was really happy they got a hold of me. That was the very first time that a company ever got a hold of me to promote their product, and it's been really cool. And I actually bought a second light for myself, so that goes to show that I really do like Higer. Thanks, Salient. Thanks for coming by. If you want a full detailed version of what I did with this, watch the first 20 minutes of this live stream whenever you can. And that kind of gives the full rundown of everything I did and instead of everything in a nutshell of what I gave you. But yeah, if you have time. But, if you're heading out, take care. And we'll see you soon, I'm sure, in the future. And the whole Discord thing is working out great. I mean, I'm so glad that you've started this. It's been working out great. I just wanted to point that out if you're still here. So I appreciate it. You've been a tremendous help with the whole Discord thing. So it's been a lot of fun talking to people in there. I try to help out with that as well because I've had Discord for a long time too. So we'll keep that one going. Discord's a lot of fun. But yeah, before you go, like whenever you have time, just check out the first 20 minutes. I explain, in detail about everything that I did with everything, if you want, if you have time. But thank you again. Sleep well, and we'll see you soon. Yeah, Rob, appreciate you subscribing to my channel and hanging out for a little bit. We have looks like 10 people viewing in here so far. I wonder if Ash's dad went to bed, if he's still here, because I actually can't see who's in the chat. Well, I might be able to. I take that back. Let me see if I can go to the participants here. Looks like my mom's still here. Salient is kind of still here. Rob's here. Dixon, are you in here? Did you sneak in here just now? Hey, you made it. I think Jesse might still be in here. He said his phone was at 6%, so I don't know if he might be in here or not. But yeah, we're keeping it fishy. I'm trying to. I was going to ask you guys too, Rob and Juanita, Zen. I want your opinion on this, but my wife is going to be making T-shirts here soon. She's got the prints for them, and she could not get the YouTube logo that I have on here because of issues with I think copyright issues and stuff. And I believe the company that I got these shirts from, they kind of work with YouTube. So I was able to, get that I had to get approval, I guess, before I did this. Whereas she's going to be making shirts. Dementia, I'm here now. Well, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Elfish, cool. But anyways, I wanted you guys' opinion. I've been trying to come up with some new sayings and stuff, and I think either my very first or second video, I was saying something like "Let's get sophisticated." So she's going to put that on a T-shirt, and hopefully she has a website that once she gets it going with the T-shirts, I'm hoping that I can put it on my description so you guys can buy shirts, if you want. And there's also it's like a boutique store that she has. So she has odds and ends tumblers and other shirts, with sayings and stuff on it because she has a printer that she does this with. But do you guys like what I did on the? Do you guys think the "Let's get sophisticated" is I guess punny per se, or do you guys think that's too cheesy? Because I was thinking of throwing that on we're gonna throw it on a T-shirt. We're gonna see how it goes and see if people buy it. So we've been trying to come up with different phrases because I've noticed that other people's merchandise and stuff, they have phrases and stuff. So I'm trying to come up with a solid phrase that's going to stick, and if you guys like it or not. So just let me know in the chat. I thought it was kind of I think, let me type in the chat here. Did that work? Okay. So it'll be something like this on a shirt. So do you guys think this is cheesy or do you guys think this is cool? Because we're going to put this on a shirt and we'll see how it does. So I'm trying to come up with different phrases. My wife was actually asking me like, well, what we should do. And do you have any sayings? It's like, well, we did the sophisticated thing. So we could try that first and see how that goes. But if it doesn't work, then I can think of something else because I couldn't think of anything else other than that. And I used that for a couple of my very first videos. So yeah, it's all figuring the thing out and the right thing to do and see what works and what doesn't. We're hoping that her boutique store kind of kicks off. So I'm hoping that whenever we get the shirts done, that'll kind of help bring people in and buy some stuff too. So that's kind of the next step too, my whole plan was to get an LLC this year, but we'll see how things go. Yeah, everyone hang out and like and subscribe if you haven't already. It looks like Elfish likes it. Red likes it. So I think we're going to stick with that because I think sophisticated, it's kind of got a ring to it. But we'll see here. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about? If you guys made it in, I wonder if my mom might have went to bed because it is 10:30. I wonder if my wife left this up. Maybe she's still in here. If you guys have any questions, you guys have anything that you guys want to see, if it's a lap in the fish room, it's probably not. I can do a little bit of it, but a lot of my camera work right now is pretty stationary. So I could show you guys, if you haven't seen my latest live stream, I just recently released some baby fry that's in here right now I'm looking at. So I could probably get the camera to reach far enough to zoom in on the baby fry, along with my, other view. But oh, she's still here. Are you getting sleepy? Ash says hi. Yeah, the mollies. I gotta get a new light for that fish tank. But other than that, I haven't seen any dead bodies in that tank, and they're still making babies. I mean, some of them get eaten a little bit, but because when they're first born, but they're still alive and they're still growing. I actually moved like 4 or 5 of them up to my community tank upstairs. So they're still growing. And whenever I start get a business going and ship fish, I'm going to be saving some for you. And if they don't work out, I'll send you some more. She says, Ashley, hello. Yeah. Well, it all depends on what country everyone's from, because like some people are coming in from like UK and Australia. It might be like 2 a.m. for some people. So that's why, like the earlier comments, they said, "Hey, I'm coming in," but they'll watch the replay. So I think that's why I was trying to say what I wanted to in the first 20 minutes. So that way, if someone can't watch this entire live because it's going for, I started this at 9, so it's been an hour and a half. That they don't have to watch the whole hour and a half of my whole situation right here. But yeah. Yeah, Juanita says some of us are. But it's fun. I mean, this is basically me practicing for night shift. So, I mean, I'll come and hang out with these guys as long as you guys keep chatting and keep hanging out. I know that my mom's probably going to bed soon. I'm assuming that my wife's probably going to stay up for a little bit. I'm trying to get here on our live stream one of these days, but that all, of course, would happen if Alana's in bed or if she's, occupied, or we'll see. I've been trying to get her on one of these live streams, but we'll see if it happens. But yeah, the mollies are doing good. The mollies are doing fine. They're happy, they're healthy. I mean, I still can put my hand in the tank and they'll all go after it. I mean, it's been fun. They're always a lot of fun. They're just entertaining. They're friendly. I mean, it's. So you guys wouldn't believe this. Okay, bye, Mom. Hey, thanks for watching for this hour and a half. I appreciate it. We'll see you soon. Juanita says, "See you later." But you wouldn't believe this, but like, and if Ash, if you're listening in on this still, let me know. But all these what are the snails called? The pest snails? The oh man, tip of the tongue. I cannot think of it. They get clogged in your filter sometimes. Oh man, I can't think of it. Someone in the chat, if you want to help me out with the name of the snails. But Ash, if you're listening, remember how many snails we had in this tank? Bladder pond. No, they're real tiny snails, and they don't get very big. They don't live for very long. They live like a year. Oh no, trumpet snails, Malaysian trumpet snails. That's what they are. They're considered like a pest snail. But ever since I moved all these Mbuna over to this tank, yes. Like if I zoom into this camera, if I move this camera, they're all starting to appear again. Like I'm counting like. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's like 28 or 30 that I counted. Like ever since I moved all these fish, like here they all are again. You can't get rid of these things. And they all started coming out of the ground too. They must have realized that it was safe to come out, but they're all like stuck to the glass and they're all coming out. I have heard though that if you buy a certain there's like a bigger type of snail that you can buy that'll solve the problem of these Malaysian trumpet snails. Bladder snails are small pests, and I have never dealt with trumpet snails. Okay. So they're probably similar to the trumpet snails. Oh, that's right. You know what? I remember that now that you mentioned it. The assassin snails are puffer fish. Yeah, they actually. I think Sigla Bro said something about that, but I believe in the chat before, and I brought this up, that assassin snails help take care of that. I think so. I think that's what they do. They help alleviate, some of that. Mandy, okay. Zen Ginger, that you're Mandy. I'm guessing. It's nice to know your guys' names too. If you guys didn't know, my name is Joe. If you guys didn't know already, I was going with price tag for a while, and then as people got to know me more on this channel, that I started telling them my name. So, all right, Mandy, cool. Are you in the Discord? I thought you might be, Mandy, but let me know, because I think Juanita is in the Discord, and I think there's a few other people I've noticed in there. That Discord channel is awesome. The one that Jesse started. Mandy, let me see if I can share this to you or through the chat. I wish Jesse was in here. I don't have Discord on this computer. I'm in a lot of Discord channels too. You can set up notifications on the Discord channels to where you only have like @ mentions, so that you don't get like 1,000 notifications on your phone. So Juanita, are you on Jesse's server, his Discord server? He made one. I thought so. And Mandy, um, okay, so Juanita, can you share that by chance? I'm going to see if I can share it real quick. Um, it would be Salient's Discord channel. I'd really have to. I shared it once before. I don't have that many. I do Discord. I started Discord mainly with gaming. When I first had Discord, and now it's just been a social platform now, which is great. I'm trying to see if I can share his server on here. I'm getting closer. Maybe settings. Oh, I figured this out earlier. I could not remember. Oh, wait, copy link. And then let me see if I can go on my live stream on my phone. My channel, live. Let me see if I can go on my live stream on my phone. There we go. All right. Channel. Hopefully that works. That's his Discord. I don't know if it's a clickable link, but I don't know if there's a way you can copy that, but that's Salient's Discord. Oh, that's fine. If that works, yeah, Red Laser, if you want to get on Jesse's Discord, I'm on there as well. That's the link to get on Jesse's Discord, and then I'll be on there. You'll see because I posted that I was doing a live stream today, and then we do like a general chat, and then we have like a section where you can ask questions and stuff, and then it's just a big hangout spot, and there's different sections you can choose from, whether if it's you want to check out someone's live stream, if you want to discuss about fish stuff, or if you just want to generally talk about like pets or what you did today or something. There's different sections, but hopefully that works for you, Mandy. But yeah, I appreciate everyone coming in. I think it's been successful. I'm really happy how everything's been turning out, and everything's been pretty successful with this so far. Like I said, like knock on wood, and I'm hoping, since I'm going to be working here soon, that it seems like everything is really starting to look okay. Like you might have a fish here and there that's hiding right now, but let me look in the camera one more time for you guys. I cannot believe these trumpet snails, how crazy they just appear. They were probably getting eaten from all the Mbunas that were in here before. That's why I didn't see them at all. But I mean, like, everyone's showing up in front of the tank. No one's really bothering anybody. And even if they are, it's very brief. There's nothing that's too drastic about it, and I think it's working out, or at least I hope it works out. I hope I wake up tomorrow morning and everything's still the same. And like I said before, like some of the fish are hiding, but like no one's chasing after anybody. If there is a chase, it's occasional. So wish me luck that this works well, because I really hope that this is like my final draw of making this work out. So that way, no fish are hiding too much. Everyone's getting along. No one's picking on anybody. There's enough distraction, enough hiding spots, enough places for people to take a break, and enough that everyone gets along with everybody. And it's nice to just watch this because this is why I want to do this live stream as well. It's just to kind of keep an eye on everything too. Yeah, it seems promising for sure. I mean, everything's pretty calm. This is exactly what I want to see: is being able to come in the front of the tank and just be able to see everything, how everything looks, and just enjoy the fish. I mean, it's colorful, it's vibrant, and everyone's coming out. They're doing their hiding here and there, but I think everything's starting to look really well. So I'm crossing my fingers, and Ash is crossing her fingers too, because she's going to be the one to feed them too whenever I'm gone. There's some minor tweaks I'm going to do to this tank. There's a new light, a higher light that I'm going to put on here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of turning the house or the tank lights on and off and being like a drastic turn on and off, it's going to have that 24/7 daylight cycle. So that's another thing I'm going to do. And I have some glass hoods I'm going to add on the top of this too. So that's my next thing I want to do, is to get that going. And it'll make feeding the fish easier too, because it'll have that glass hood that the whole side will kind of like fold over, as opposed to like a tiny little feeding hatch. So but yeah, seems promising. No, actually, I did not. No, because I added the yellow lab first, and then today, so far, I've added the Eratus and the electric blue Jahani. So I haven't had to remove anybody. And it's really cool to see all the fish, like they're spread out too. Like, see how they're like they're not afraid. They're up front. Like before, they were all like running all over the place, but it was like they're not running away at all. Like this is exactly what I was looking for. This makes me love this tank like all over again. And I think it really does help that there's so many hiding spots. And there's so many things going on that they just feel like they're almost like at a comfort level, if that makes sense. What's on the other side of the tanks? Is it like a utility closet or the garage? Let me think. Mandy, there is a video about how this in-wall tank set up. Let me see if I can find that video. Copy and there is the video there. It explains, how I did this whole in-wall tank setup. It was actually, this wall was never here. This wall was built. And it's just another wall behind me. That's all it is. And this is when we first moved in. And so my brother made another wall for this exact reason. So I guess I could call it a utility room, because it has all my fish stuff in it, you know, well, not all of it, but like my hoses and buckets. And then it has a lot of the, this is how I feed my fish tanks back there. It's up above. I would take my camera with me if I could, but like I said, everything's stationary, so I can't like go back there and show you because of, you know, I can't reach back there all the way. But that video should show you everything I did with it and how it all got set up. So hopefully that'll help. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, and my brother helped me out with that. I'll probably go for about 10 more minutes or so, and then I'll make it a 2-hour stream, and then I'll head out. You can link your phone. So you can link your phone into StreamYard. I haven't done that yet. I didn't even know about that. Could you kind of give me a rundown of how you do that? Because that would probably make it a lot easier. There's got to be a way to do it, because then I could actually take that camera and I could go back there and show you. I just don't know how to do it. Because I think I know that, you know, you can invite people in, you know, to talk with you and stuff. So you went live once by accident. Yeah, see, I don't know if I could try to figure it out, because I could send like an invite link, maybe. I'm not really sure if I could do like dual screens, but I'm afraid to touch anything because I'm so used to doing it this way. I'm afraid to mess something up here at the very end. But all right, I'll have Jesse help me with that next time. I'll send him a message tomorrow or something through the Discord, because he'll probably do the live event thing. But yeah, there isn't a whole lot left to talk about. Mandy and Juanita, and maybe I think Ash is still in here. So I'm probably going to end the live stream for now. But I've had a decent amount of people in here, and it's been well. It went over pretty well. So I'm going to end this live stream for tonight. And I think my battery's dying on my camera too. But anyways, thank you guys all for coming and hanging out. I appreciate it. I'm going to end this live stream. Juanita and Mandy, thanks for coming. And everybody else who does the replay watch, thanks for coming in. You guys take care. And we'll see you on the flip side. And yeah, we'll see you around. And nice to meet you. All right. Good night. Take care. And I appreciate you hanging out. And we'll see you again soon. See ya.